about the Braver norms here in SFUSD last year during the personalized learning environments pilot that Lindsay Blass led. And she said she got these from the district, and she said, let's look and consider the Braver norms. And this was a year ago. And so I'm just simply going to read them out loud. Keep liberation for the oppressed at the center. Be part of the solution towards liberation. Be present and comfortable in discomfort. And I'll be honest with you. When I first saw these, I was a little bit like, I'm not sure that we need these. But now it seems like we desperately need these. Anyway, just to tell you. Objectives. This is an overarching objective for the entire course, which will last until February. And you're going to create a culturally responsive digital portfolio that helps to build independent learners in your classroom. You're going to create, share, build, reflect on multimedia pieces that you're going to create within this course. And add digital portfolio pedagogy to your teaching craft. Because the whole point of being here is that you're bringing the information to your students. That's the thing. You're going to learn it here, but I'm going to give you tools where you can, at the end of today's session, you're going to get a slide deck that is for the students that you can run with the students. You don't have to do anything else to it. And so that's what I'm hoping, that while you guys be here, I can give you the tools that will support you directly next day in your class. Today's. Understand the structure and content of this course, apply a lens of culturally responsive teaching to digital portfolios, and you're gonna make something, you're gonna actually build something. Here's the syllabus. Oi, this is a big deal. So I designed, this course took me about 2 months to build. And we got the information from different places, KQED being one of them, and I had to put it all together, and this is the syllabus that kind of lays it all out and maps it all out for us. So if you all will jump to that link, or I'll actually jump to the link so you don't have to if you don't have access to the slide deck, and just kind of, I'll highlight some things. It's a 2.5-page document, so you'll probably end up reading it yourself, but I'll highlight some things within it. All right, so this is the blended learning course. Everybody sees that okay, or should I make it a little bit bigger? All right, it's taking a little while to load. All right. All right, so to join the course, very simply, I'll just go down it pretty quickly. I'll stop when I think I should stop and talk a little bit more about it. You can access the course at classroom.google.com. You should have accessed it already. If you haven't, you can wait till the end of the session to access it. At the end of today's session, you're going to register for this course, and in the slide deck for today. At the end, it's like slide 45 or something. There's a registration for this blended learning experience that you're going to participate in. If you agree to participate in it, that is. Course directions. The course launches today, and announcements, conversations, and Zoom links will be conducted in the stream section of the Google Classroom. So very simply, I will place everything that needs to be placed in the Google Classroom that is a communication type piece. This is a year-long course, more like a 6-month course, and it's going to meet synchronously and asynchronously. So at the end of the session, you might have a little bit more work to conduct. At the end of today's session, you won't have too much work to conduct because I built it into this 2-hour block. But at the end of the next session in September, you're going to have a little bit of work to conduct in that I'm going to invite you to create a multimedia piece. There's the course description, which is the same one that was in the sketch, I think. And the rationale. I'll read the rationale out loud. This course will help build independent learners in your classroom by developing a culturally responsive digital portfolio that is reflective and helps show student growth. Very simple. This is some of the research that went into developing this course. It's Zaretta Hammond's Culturally Responsive Teaching in the Brain, promoting authentic engagement and rigor among culturally and linguistically diverse students. And then there's this wonderful project out of Maker Ed called the Open Portfolio Project, which has like, I think, a dozen different papers that go into discussing how to build a portfolio project. And these two are from there. And then the digital portfolios with Maker Ed KQED Teach course is also part of the research that went into creating this course. These are similar to our outcomes, our objectives today. And then here are the meeting dates. 8/10, 9/10 is the next meeting date. And actually, if you all can answer, we probably don't know yet what's the best time a 2-hour block to meet? Is 4 to 6 a decent time, or should it be earlier? Because some of I guess we have to figure out what happens with the MOU. Anyway, that's a question I have still. Just this articulates what each day will consist of. And the asynchronous component will be the invitation to do a little bit more work outside of the session. Very simply. All right, I'm gonna jump back to the slide deck. You guys can ask me questions about the syllabus if you like. Any questions about the syllabus? We're good. All right, I'm gonna continue then. All right, so here's my connection to culturally responsive teaching. I had notes. I was gonna do this with speaker notes, but I think I could do it on the fly. About 20 years ago, I got a job at Benjamin Franklin Middle School. It was like one of my first teaching jobs. And the whole staff had been trained on digital portfolios. And then I came in and I was like, what are digital portfolios? And what would happen was that the community would have an event at the end of the year for each grade, and they would shut down the school for the 8th graders when they graduated. And the 8th graders had to either play an instrumental piece, they would have to showcase some work that they did in their classes throughout the years, and they shared with the community. Like, we invited parents in, we invited other community members in, and each 8th grader had to go in front of a panel and defend themselves. So why they should leave, right? Why they should graduate from the 8th grade. And it was a pretty amazing experience. I started doing puppet shows and things like that, and I wanted to capture it somehow. And so I would film it. We would have these wonderful puppet shows on creation myths, and I would film it. And then what would happen was I wouldn't have anywhere to put it. I wouldn't know where to store it. And so I went and got my master's because I wanted these pieces to have a home. And I went and got my master's, and I built like an engine, a portfolio engine essentially, where kids can do digital work and store it there. And so I've been working with portfolios. And about a year and a half ago, the Ethnic Studies Department invited us to go see Zaretta Hammond speak. And I had laid out like the different pieces of work that should go into a portfolio with the help of colleagues and discussions and stuff. And it matched up. What she was talking about in her study of the brain was exactly what was laid out, and there were different spaces where you could do the same thing within a portfolio. key thing is dependent learners have been conditioned to be passive. If they are to become more independent, we have to provide them with tools. And so that's what the hope is with this digital portfolio pedagogy. What was born out of me going to hear her speak is essentially the foundation for this course. And I built out this hyperdoc, essentially, which this course will weave in and out of the different tools that are within this hyperdoc. And so let's explore the hyperdoc just a little bit. And I'm gonna be done talking, and you guys are gonna get a chance to talk to each other in just a second, so bear with me. So this is the hyperdoc, and essentially what I based this course off of. After I went to hear her speak, I had all the tools laid out for digital portfolio. I had reasons that you should create a digital portfolio. I had the different tools in the district that we have in-house that will support the making of a portfolio. The ones that we're gonna use in this course are Adobe Spark Pages, and towards the second semester, we'll probably use Showcase, and we're going to use Google Slides as well. In order for your work to have meaning, you have to build some sort of ownership. And that's what we're gonna try to do today with the portfolio that you're gonna create. And so that's that section. It's a place for artifacts, student creations. And then just matches up with tools for building reflection. A reflection is a key component to a good, strong portfolio. And so there's these tools right here, but then there's also this quote by Zaretta Hammond, taken directly from her book and fitting right in line with digital portfolio pedagogy. There's a bit more on feedback. And then there's talk of checklists and rubrics that she talks about. And so today you're gonna get a very simple checklist. And we'll do that throughout as we create things. So that's essentially the tools that we're gonna use in this course are all embedded on this hyperdoc as a one place to look at all these different pieces. Here's the Ready for Rigor framework. And this is how we're gonna do this. The Ready for Rigor framework has 4 different pieces: awareness, learning partnerships, information processing, community of learners, and learning environment. Here's how this is gonna work. I'm gonna go to the next slide. You're gonna read each slide. You're gonna listen to my questions and discuss with each other in small groups. So we're gonna put you in breakouts, but I'm gonna go over the slides so that you know what you're doing. So you're gonna read the bullet points. You're gonna listen to my audio questions here. And this is in your breakout rooms. You're gonna listen to the audio questions here. And over here, you're going to say, how does this connect to your practice? And that's what your discussion is going to be based in. If it's somewhere that you need to grow, then discuss that. If it's something that you already do, then discuss that. And there's 4 of these for the 4 different components of the Ready for Rigor framework. The 4 are right here. And there's questions for each one of them. And I'm gonna say, I'll meet you. How many people do we have in here? And so I'd like 4 people per room.
Yep, so there's 62.
Okay.
And give me just a minute and I'll put everyone into random breakout rooms.
That's fantastic.
And I'll also,
no, go ahead.
Sorry, I'll just note that I'm capturing all the questions, especially the ones that are around logistics, software questions, and we'll be sure to address those so that you're feeling comfortable at the end of the session.
There's a component of tools where we're just talking about tools. So maybe save those questions for when we talk about tools. Yeah? Yeah? Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, so once you're in rooms, you're gonna have 12 minutes to go through the slides and have these little discussions very quickly, just so you could make sense. Type in Google Classroom or chat. You're going to go to the breakout rooms and you're gonna read the bullets, listen to it, and just discuss in the breakout rooms. And you can open up your mic because there won't be 62 people in there. There'll be only 4. So there. Thanks, David.
Are we ready?
Yeah. We'll grab some water.
Ricardo, can you go into breakout room 5?
Yeah.
I'm gonna, do you need me to drop in or can you drop in there?
I can drop in. Maybe I should stop sharing and I'll be able to see my toolbar.
Well,
All right, so I'm gonna go to breakout room 5.
yes, please.
I've been assigned to breakout room 1.
Okay, let me move you.
Okay. Cool.
All right, you should be able to get in. Mona is asking for some help.
We was having trouble with where's the questions?
The questions are in the presentation deck. I'm not sure who's speaking, but I'll throw them back into the chat to access again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see. How do I get that? Oh, join breakout room.
The audio works for everybody now. Almitra, can you send them a message or can I send them a message?
Either of us can. When you did away with the slide deck, I lost the count. So I just started another one back up with an estimate. But can you still see your count?
My count.
You had a time? You had a timer going.
Oh, snap. Ooh.
Do you still see it? Otherwise, I just set a 5-minute, and I can send a 5-minute right
perfect.
now. Yeah.
Perfect.
Cool.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I should check my agenda to see how we are on time.
Yeah, we're at 1:50.
Yeah. What happened to these people? They didn't go.
They didn't join, so I think they might be just idling or kind of doing something simultaneously while low-key being in the workshop.
Okay,
so
cool.
I put some additional instructions in the chat if they pop back in. Maybe they went to the restroom.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
they can still access and get to the information that the folks are participating in the chat right now. I'm going to set it at that folks have 4 minutes.
Cool. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. I have never done breakout rooms to manage them before.
Maybe I should have told you earlier this week that that's what I was hoping.
When you said that I was going to be your kind of facilitator or host, I can't remember what specific word, but Oprah came to mind. And so I was thinking I would just be glad that people are here and listening carefully and asking you kind of follow-up or leading questions. But this is way funner because I get to practice what a lot of folks are going to be doing with their students, although hopefully no one has 70 students in their class at once.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Oh, hi, Leslie.
She's just joining.
Yeah. You want to give her the slide deck and stuff?
Yeah. Leslie. I wish these were in alphabetical order.
It's daunting.
What was Leslie's? Oh, Leslie. Yes.
Lum.
If you're just joining us, folks, we're in breakout rooms in discussion, but you can catch up by accessing today's resources. I just dropped them back into the chat for anyone who's just joined us. I'm going to actually just put them in here again to everyone. If you had to step away, totally okay. We're in a new environment where we're learning how to do these types of workshops virtually. So glad to have you join back in as you're able. Just jump into the slide deck, go to slide deck 22 to review what others are in discussion about. And that's Zaretta Hammond's Ready for Rigor framework. So a framework for doing culturally responsive teaching.
Well, I've entered the waiting room. She keeps coming in.
I wonder if she's having trouble.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I come back from breakout room number 8 because we have 4 people, and then I call no one responding there. So.
Aha. We can place you in another room. May, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was all set to use my speaker notes and stuff, and then I forgot to do it.
Yeah, I mean, are you on one screen?
I'm on 2.
Oh.
But still, it's, I don't know. It's just a lot of different moving parts.
Yeah, I was in a workshop on Friday, just as a participant. It's a professional development event, and the person that was facilitating, I think he was on one screen.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he got lost a little along the way, which is okay. So let's give folks 1 more minute.
Okay, you want to, let me send an announcement. I don't know how to send an announcement. Let me send an announcement. How do you send an
I just
announcement?
broadcast. The timer just went off, so we'll give them another 10 seconds.
Yeah.
You ready?
No.
You want to put back up your, I don't know if you need the deck back up.
I do.
Great.
There we
All right,
go.
everyone's coming back.
All right. Oh, it still worked.
Oh, perfect, because I just hit breakout rooms will close in 55 seconds. So folks are coming back. Welcome back. Hope you had some generative discussion as you dove in a little bit more.
All right.
Is it useful for folks to start to share out little tidbits?
Yeah, that's yeah, I thought so.
Great. So glad to just continue the chat. If you have a thought that you're holding from the conversations that you had, feel free to just drop it right into the chat. Just take that nugget from your brain and type it in to the chat. Some things that you're still thinking about, some things that were ahas for you as you dove in a little bit more.
Not enough time.
Fair enough. Sorry.
We were just getting going.
You were just getting going?
Just getting good.
Yeah.
Also, somehow we needed permission to listen to the audio.
Because I made a mistake.
Okay.
I didn't open up the sharing settings, and then somebody called from like room 5 and said, hey, that exact question, Henry. And I said, let me see if there's something I could do on my end. And there certainly was. So you're able to hear them now. The thing about those questions too, which I should have told you, was that they're in the speaker notes on the bottom of the slide deck. You guys all had access to them. But anyway.
And Maria says you didn't have access to the guided questions, which we figured out what that was about. But the group did have a great conversation. I'm wondering if, Maria, you might want to just take a second to unmute and share some takeaways.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Hi, my name's Maria Lourdes. I'm from Eddington Middle School. So, you know, we had our books. All of our 5 members had our books ready. But we were waiting for the guided questions. But our question was around, one of our members told us that the RICA exam was getting taken out and wasn't going to be a requirement. I guess it was 3 days ago they suggested that. So we were talking about that and how that connects to the 4 rigor. And then we transitioned into one of our members talking about how she has a kindergarten child and she's teaching high school for the first time, and how that will look like as far as the equity between having a child that's in kindergarten and then also teaching high school students. So before we got into this really deep, we got disconnected, we got cut into the breakout, and we're like, no, we want to talk more, but at least we started that conversation.
There's another breakout later, but you won't be with the same people. Which is kind of bad. There's anybody else wanna share what they talked about, or maybe you got into the awareness and you did have access to the questions.
Yeah, jump in, David.
Yeah, what's up, Almetria? Hey,
Good to see you.
Nice to see you too. So yeah, the conversation, we just started touching upon the relationship of the keynote as well too. You know what? Like one thing that that we discussed was how teachers can sometimes mess up students' names, and you know, and again, I would consider that's another microaggression. Taking the time to learn, and if you don't know how to pronounce a student's name, to work at it, and to, you know, so that's one thing, pronouncing students' names. and so I think we're likening it to the culturally responsive teaching and the brain, the book by Loretta Hammond. And so that was something that came up. I brought forth, that I come from a mixed race background, but I present as not mixed race. A lot of people cannot tell. My mom's from the Philippines. And so that was something that, putting those cultures together and understanding that one culture is very, single-minded as a way another culture is very groupthink, community-minded. And so, and that was something that, resonated. And yeah, we had one of our members who has an awesome name that we were working on learning how to pronounce. So that was something that we were just getting going. We were practicing together. And so
you want to practice in front of everybody, David?
I need to see it. I need to, yeah.
Okay.
Chamemorum, something, so I'm working on.
Right on. Thanks for working on it. You reminded me of something. Growing up, all my many teachers wanted to make me Richard instead of Ricardo, and I always stuck with, no, Ricardo is my name. Don't call me Richard. Don't anglicize my name.
That's right.
Anyway, so just thanks for reminding me of that.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for letting me share.
Yeah. Anybody else? All right, we're gonna move along. Yeah, content connection, KQED partnership. All right, so Almetria, this is your part.
Fantastic. Thanks. I just, as you all work together and build some connections with one another, and maybe make use of what you're learning in this professional learning community that we're just starting to build in this moment right now, this afternoon on a Monday, in maybe the craziest year, hopefully many of you will ever experience. There are still lots of opportunities that we can have for supporting our students. And KQED has a longstanding relationship with San Francisco Unified, and has worked to support professional learning around media literacy, media making, media use for a long time. Really feel fortunate that we were able to launch a whole series of youth media challenges for this school year. And so I want to just take a moment to share what those are as an opportunity to bring some additional learning or some specific media projects to your students that can really be applicable to culturally responsive teaching, and provide opportunities for your students to have really rich and robust artifacts to bring into their portfolios and out into the wider community. So these youth media challenges are audio, video, and data projects that your students can engage in. We launched the first one a few months ago, and we're launching a slate of 5 more that you all, as being part of this professional learning community, will have earlier access to than the general public. So they're a slate of 5 different projects. Students will create different types of media that we will display on a public showcase. Some of the selections are going to be shared in various KQED programs for a general audience, and selections will also be shared by other public media stations in partnership with KQED all around the country. And so as we dive into what the specific challenges are on the next slide, I want to just note that we've designed our showcase page as being open to middle and high school students, but these projects, many of them could also be used in upper elementary as well. So for those of you who are upper elementary educators, there's opportunities for you. You won't be able to publish to the showcase page, but you will be able to work with us to have additional opportunities for your students to be able to share what they're creating in a more public setting beyond the classroom.
Also, that was kind of the in the chat at the very beginning where I wanted you guys to look for similarities of what you were teaching and stuff. I thought that was the beginning of making a connection across classrooms. To Almetria's point.
So this slide right here, thanks Ricardo, is a list of the different youth media challenges or projects that are available, and each of them has a specific focus. The one that is live right now, and you can see about 100 student submissions so far have come in, are from the Let's Talk About Election 2020 Youth Media Challenge. And that is an audio or video commentary that students create about issues that matter to them around the election. And so this challenge is only open through January of next year through the election cycle. But this one is our big endeavor to support students in practicing argumentative writing, media literacy, and civil dialogue. And then the rest of these challenges open up in October. So the publishing site where your students will submit to and have a public audience opens up towards the end of October. But we will work with you if you're interested, depending on the ones that you're interested in, providing you early access to the curriculum for any of these challenges. And we'll dive a little bit more into each of these challenges in the next session that we'll have together. But you might be familiar with our show Perspectives, where there's these audio personal narratives that students can now engage in. Some of them will air on our Perspectives show on KQED. So audio, students are sharing themselves in this 2-minute audio, and it really is about narrative writing. And that's one where you can imagine elementary students being able to engage and participate in that particular challenge. And then there's a general one that's audio storytelling with the California Report. And that's an invitation for students to do more radio-like features that use narrative, interview, ambient sound, and music. So really kind of focusing more on telling a story around a topic that is general, similar to the Youth Media Challenge, Let's Talk About Election 2020, but a little bit more broad in terms of the topic that the students might choose or that you might ask them to create to participate in this particular challenge. A selection of these are going to air on the California Report, which is our radio show that airs across the state. One that's of particular excitement to me is If Schools Could Dance, as a former performance teacher myself. And this is an invitation for students to share as individuals or as part of a group dance videos that employ a lot of video production techniques. So this one is more video focused. And I think it kind of hits on the current craze for students to create short videos in TikTok, but to do something that has a little bit more rigor to it and a specific audience. And that's really inspired by our show, If Cities Could Dance. And those are some beautiful exemplars that can be inspiring for students who participate in this dance challenge. Another really fun and kind of unique one is the Political Cartooning Challenge that we are co-hosting with KQED's political cartoonist, Mark Fiore. And he is walking students through the creation process through a video series that we're producing with him to create political cartoons. And the last one is Engineering for Good, which is more focused around science and looking at engineering design process and how the engineering design process can support solutions to real world problems. So we have a really kind of rich slate. We're excited to partner to support you, depending on what particular challenge you might want to bring to your students to support you in participating in any one of these challenges with your students. You can go to the last slide.
I'll go.
Again, for those that have younger students, if you're teaching in grammar school, you won't be able to publish to the site. There's some kind of restrictions around our publishing site, but we will work with the district in providing showcase opportunities for your students that I'm really excited about and think would be great opportunities for community connections. And there's other opportunities if these particular projects aren't meeting needs that you see for your students right now. There's other possible solutions for doing media projects with your students. And then the last actual slide in this section, if you go back one more, yep. So we have a training webinar every Thursday afternoon starting the beginning of September that you can just jump into to work with KQED's professional learning team to get additional support and to kind of kick you off in sort of a community of other educators working on those challenges as well. So just another opportunity for support I wanted to note.
Very cool, very cool. And then we're gonna dig in at the September 10th meeting, right, on these challenges, Omitra?
Yeah, we're gonna dive into them a little bit more, look at some student exemplars, get you thinking about or provide some support for you if you already know which one might make sense, provide some curricular support if it's needed.
Right on. Thank you, Almetria. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Any questions for Almetria?
And I'm glad to answer them in the chat as well.
Okay, perfect, perfect. I'll move along because it's about time to build your first build. These are the tools we're going to use to build the portfolio. All of these are free. Yes, students have access to all these tools with their Google credentials. All they got to do is same way they sign into Google Classroom, they sign into the Adobe Spark. And mostly that's what we're going to be using, slides and Adobe Spark and the different pieces within Adobe Spark. There's a video maker, there's a collage maker, which you're going to look at, and there's the Adobe Pages, which is the website builder. There they are, Adobe Spark, Google Slides, and then there's another tool that's kind of on the horizon, but we don't need it yet. It is a Google tool, so it's free as well, and it's called Showcase, and what it does is connects, it's a tool that has students look at the graduate profile and connect their work to the graduate profile as they reflect on their growth as a student. So it's another tool that we're going to be using, but mostly we're going to be using Google Slides and Adobe Spark. All right, so here, you guys ready? You guys ready? Sit up straight. Come on, let's go. You're getting started. This is your portfolio notebook journal. I'll give you a little background, actually. About 2.5 weeks ago, I got this assignment to create an interactive notebook for the science department. And I'm sharing that with the science department on Thursday, right? A bunch of teachers are getting that information on Thursday. And I thought, wow, this interactive journal notebook really would work better than what I created for my digital portfolio course over the summer. And so I spent a good chunk of this weekend adapting it so that it filled our needs here. So here it is. This is the digital portfolio notebook, and essentially it's just a fancy Google slide. It just looks really cool. That link right there, if you hit that link, it's gonna force you to make a copy. Once you're forced to make a copy, you're gonna rename it, your last name, portfolio notebook. So mine, for example, would be Elizalde _ portfolio notebook. Put the underscore if you like, you don't have to. On your copy of notebook, write your name. And as we walk through the rest of the session, we will be working with this notebook. So go, you got 2 minutes to make a copy and to write your name on the notebook. Play music, but I'd have to have another screen, and I don't want to. Give me a thumbs up in the Zoom once you guys got it done. Mr. Bro, I see you, man. Mr. Puma. It's all making sense, Mr. Bro? All right. Everybody should be there. Everybody should have a notebook. Give me a thumbs up if you got your notebook all set. For those of you who have your camera on, that will make sense to me. Otherwise, it won't make sense to me. All right. So I'm going to the next slide. Notebook logistics. Very important notebook logistics. When you begin the notebook assignment, assign the students via Google Classroom, and then when you assign the students via Google Classroom, you have a choice as to whether to make a copy for each student or not. You would make a copy for each student. That's how you're going to assign it. To continue, you're going to direct students to slides.google.com to find the notebook. Does that make sense? Yeah? And that's the thing is that I did this with some teachers at Cesar Chavez last year, and the teacher was like, okay, I assigned it via Google Classroom and they can't find the notebook. And so I thought the simplest solution was just take them right to slides.google.com. What will pop up are all the slides that they're working on. And since you've told them what to name it, you'll know exactly what to tell them to go look for it, what name it is in their folder if they did as they were told. Hope that makes sense. Make sense? Yes? Right on. I see one thumbs up. 2. 60 of you. Oh my God. That'll be 3. All right, I'm gonna move on. All right. Oi. All right. When should students use this notebook? Use the digital portfolio notebook to reflect on the projects you're creating in Adobe Spark. Reflect on your learning process. Pose questions. What are you stuck on? Part of this notebook will make it onto your Adobe Spark Pages portfolio, but not all of it. Some of it is just for you to use for yourself. All right, you ready? Remember I told you were gonna get a slide deck to take to your students. I'm gonna go through the next 5 slides pretty quickly, and you're gonna get your second breakout room with all these wonderful new colleagues of yours. And essentially, you're going to make a collage on Adobe Spark. There's a video, a 4-minute video explaining how to make the collage. This is a 4-minute video explaining how to make the collage, and just watch it up to 2 minutes. Once you figure out how to make the thing, go ahead and make it, because it's pretty quick, it's pretty easy. You should be done in about 15 minutes or so. And so I'm just gonna walk through the slide deck so you understand what we're doing. There's my collage. All right, this is the About Me collage. And remember, this is student facing. In the Google Classroom, there's a student facing version that you could use exactly with your students when they show up. Or like whenever you decide. This is the agenda for the students on that day that you're introducing this journal. About Me collage brainstorm, create collage, reflect on collage and notebook. Complete the About Me collage brainstorm, page 5 of your portfolio notebook. So you're gonna go ahead and complete that. And it's just like a series of questions that asks you about different parts of your personality. Maybe it asks you about you as a learner. It asks you about what you're making, what you're playing, what you're reading. It asks you to kind of flesh yourself out, right? Because we're building identity, students' identity, and that's how we're connecting with this community. You're gonna watch that video right there, and you're gonna go create spark.adobe.com. There's a little, it got messed up on the bottom there, but what it says is that the challenge for this collage that you're gonna make is to use all original pictures. I didn't meet the challenge because I used all pictures that were in stock for Adobe, which is fine because they come out pretty luscious. But if you got some original pictures that you can include in there, that builds a little bit more on your identity. And there's the checklist. Remember, checklists and rubrics. And so that very simply is your checklist for what's a completed collage. And you have 20 minutes, folks. We're gonna set you up in breakout rooms. Oh, and then after that, you're gonna reflect on the collage on slide 7 of your notebook. And then you're gonna tell your students you did really good, success. All right, so are we ready? Thumbs up if it makes sense. Yes, yes? You're gonna make a collage right now. And this is gonna be the first piece you're gonna make, and then you're gonna take that idea to your students. But so 20 minutes, we got 20 minutes out, Mitra. And so they're breaking up in small groups again. Use the people in your group to talk about. If you need my help, I'll come and join your group. But the point is to get the collage done in the next 20 minutes. All right, go.
How many participants should we have in each room? If somebody could give, based on, there's some active folks in the workshop and some inactive. Should we make slightly bigger breakout rooms?
Maybe that's a really good idea. Maybe like 7.
If I can get a couple, 7, great.
Yeah. If you get in a group where everybody is pictures up and they're not participating, then tell us and we'll join you up with somebody else, like Robert or Henry or Dwayne.
Just give me 1 second. It's wanting to recreate the same ones. And this is my very first time putting folks into breakout rooms. So I'm gonna move all, no. Anybody have more experience than me?
Just delete the ones that you have and then recreate them.
Oh, I see.
Did that make sense? Oh, good.
I figured out how to do it.
Are we creating individual collages or are we making one group collage?
No, individual. This is your identity.
So then how, I don't understand what we're doing in the group.
You're talking about the process. If you want to work by yourself, you just sit there quietly and work by yourself. But if you have a question, ask your group a question.
Okay, great.
That's all. Yeah.
Thank you for asking. And I'll add the instructions. I'll push them out again.
Great.
Yeah, and
All
how
right.
do we get to make this profile? I'm sorry, I must have missed something.
Tell me the question again.
How do I make this collage?
The video tells you exactly how to make it. Hello?
So the instructions, Ricardo, are to first watch the video and then do the step-by-step instructions for actually creating the collage.
Yeah, first they got to do the brainstorm on page 5 of their portfolio notebook.
How about we do this? I'll broadcast a message with the step-by-steps and every couple of minutes adding the next step as we think might be appropriate so that we can kind of guide folks a little bit step-by-step through the kind of multi-step process.
Sounds lovely.
Fantastic. All right, so go ahead and join your groups. And Ricardo, what's the first message in the first step that we should be broadcasting?
On page 5 of your portfolio notebook, complete the About Me brainstorm. Alicia, did you have a question? Oh, no, she left. Leslie, Lara, all good?
I was booted out. I don't know if you can put me back into a breakout room. Oh, yeah, got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. All right, so I broadcasted a message to folks, their first step. What's their second step?
Watch the video.
Okay, and how long is the video?
4 minutes. They need to watch maybe 2 minutes of it. We got to do the timer.
Yep, do you want to put that back up while I'm putting in some?
I'll do.
I also set the breakout rooms for 20 minutes in total. So they're automatically going to be brought back now in 17 minutes.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, they get where they get as far as they get, you know?
Yeah, and they'll do,
It doesn't go anywhere. It's still there, you know?
okay.
Makes sense so far?
Yeah, on the Twitter sphere, I read a really great long thread by Jim Bentley, our fellow KQED teacher ambassador. And what he was kind of, he's at a year-round school in Elk Grove Unified. And he said, I think he had like 27, 35, he kept adding, you know, reflections, tips, takeaways from his first week of doing distance learning. And he said, I think it was his number 3 or 7, maybe it was actually his number 1. Everything takes 4 times as long to do remotely. And
Not there to
to
catch.
do something that's so, I haven't been in a workshop like what I am playing your opera to now, where there's like a level of complexity. Imagining doing this with students who you haven't met in real life seems daunting. Yeah, so that idea of until your students get acclimated to kind of learning and working with you in this way, everything is going to take many more times longer than what it would have taken if you were all in the same room in your classrooms together.
Right. No, I know. And as a teacher, you explain and re-explain and re-explain, and you don't know, even if the people are here, you don't even know if they're listening, you know?
Yeah, and also the expectation, especially in a kind of situation like this, is there might be some folks low-key listening.
Yeah. I know.
And which is, I think there's still enough for them to get, even if they're not actively engaged. They'll get more if they're actively engaged, for sure. But I think it's all right.
I think so, yeah.
After the video, what's the next step? I'll broadcast that.
After the video, the next step is make the collage on adobespark.com.
So go to Adobe Spark.
Spark.adobe.com.
Go to.
And the link is on their slides.
Okay.
You're a great moderator, Almetria.
You said I was supposed to play your opera, and I have had very little sleep. And so I'm just like, this is probably a good thing. I'm like, wait, no, focus, pay attention. What's the next thing folks need? What's a simplified way that we can get people to kind of the next step that we're working with them on? Go to adobespark.com. It's spark.adobe.com and start reading. And they needed how many pictures?
5 to 7.
Yeah, do you want to jump into one of the rooms to see how things are progressing, just so you have a sense of?
I do. All good. They were watching the video.
How does that work? Are they watching the video
Together.
all together?
They are.
Can they
They
do
are.
that?
Yeah, well, somebody could screen share, right?
Oh, is that what, that's like another level of complication. When you said that, I was like, what are they supposed to go off and watch it and then come back into the group? Are they supposed to do it on their phone? What about the folks?
No, it's complicated. Several layers, man. It's several layers. That's why I was disappointed that I didn't allow access to the audio clips, because I was really proud of myself for thinking of that. But then I didn't finish the task, you know? So it was like, okay, I recorded the questions. I thought, nice change of modality with your reading, and then you're listening, and then you're talking, right? It's like this boom, boom, very rhythmic change.
Yeah, and I think the different things that you're kind of guiding folks through are interesting models to look at for bringing back into the classroom, right? So if I was in the classroom this year, thinking about like, what are the different like approaches I have to supporting my students for the time I have them synchronously,
right?
Is a puzzle that I feel like teachers are just probably going to be building, like the different practices and the different kind of ways that they're engaging their students. Like, how do you learn together when you're in a space together without it just being the teacher lectures and students kind of check out, right?
That's why it's really, really cool that they're over just a group of 4 watching one video, you know, and it makes more sense and it carries further because it's just 4 people, almost. Leslie is saying thank you. You're welcome, Leslie. All right, so how are we doing on time? 11 minutes. And plus, the other thing that Breakouts does is it gives you, you have several opportunities in the classroom to sit back and kind of re-gauge yourself. That's what breakouts do. In that we're still working, right? And everybody's doing something, but we're also just re-gauging ourselves as to, okay, what's going to happen when they come back?
Yeah, and I imagine depending on your approach to teaching, I mean, again, we have more folks in here than perhaps might be in a classroom, but you can just kind of go from, like you would if your students were working in person, go from group to group,
Yeah.
just check in.
Exactly. Maybe you should assign me to a different group so I can check in with them.
Okay. What group are you in?
I was in 7.
Okay. I don't see where you, oh, you were in 7, okay.
Did you assign me?
I did. I assigned you to the room with the smallest number of people. 6.
I didn't get the bubble up.
Okay.
Oh, maybe I just have to do the breakout rooms. Mira.
Yeah.
Drop me in another room, Almetria. They had some issues.
I think that I did an automatic timer, so everyone's getting booted out in 30 seconds, so we can adjust it as the group.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's cool. They needed me the whole time.
Yeah.
I was demonstrating. So I probably should have been in there in each one.
Well, you can't be in each one. So, yeah, I mean, this agenda is pretty jam-packed.
It is. I didn't want to sell anybody short. And here I thought it was going to take an hour. And we are at 2:42. We're going to flip last part, I think. That's the time. Is that on mine?
I don't know why it's pinging.
Yes, it's on mine.
Okay.
That's annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, you agree? All right.
Yeah, it's a high tonal quality. That's like irritating.
Yeah, it is.
You asked.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna put my screen up again.
Fantastic. As folks start to come back, the breakout rooms officially boot everyone out in 20 seconds.
Okay. I'm gonna do it this way this time so I can see folks.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's a really important note that doing things in this format takes so much longer and requires like a little bit more kind of procedural step-by-step when you're doing multi-step processes.
I thought I did, but I guess I needed to take a couple more steps. Anyway, so.
Yeah, so folks are starting to come back. Welcome back. Some of you, it sounds like, had some challenges. We asked you to complete a little bit of a complex set of instructions. And it's one of those things where if we were together, it would have been a much simpler process. So it's something that I'm continually reflecting on in the professional development that I'm jumping into. How do you kind of right-size experiences for your students as they're kind of learning to navigate with you in this new landscape that you're supporting them in? How long will something actually take? What are sort of the instructions that might be different or additionally needed? Just a question.
Yeah, it's a good question to ask. I'll be trying. So I'm actually gonna flip this reflect on collage portion so we don't have to do it within this session and just invite you to do this before your next session. If you didn't finish the collage, go ahead and finish that before the next session. It's September 10th if you decide to join us. If you are in the Google Classroom and you think that this might be too much, I'll still post the information in the Google Classroom. And you'll still have slide decks to take with you so that you can share with your students. I kind of want to show you something in the Google Classroom that, just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So let me jump to the Google Classroom. I didn't think I was going to do this, but here, it seems like a decent step right now. You should probably close that activity too, huh? And talk about what happened and what was good and what was bad about it.
There are comments in the chat, so if you wanted to close this out, do some reflecting, take a few minutes for that.
Yeah, let me do this part, and then I'll oh no, better, let me finish here because it's here. So classwork is where all the stuff will be. This is the Digital Day Learning Launch. Within here, that's the slide deck that we used today. Down here, your portfolio journal. And first make. This is the digital portfolio notebook. And here are the steps for this process. Start by making a copy of your digital portfolio notebook. Next, make a copy of the student version collage and go create your collage on Adobe Spark. And all the different information that we just went through is here. This is the student version of the slide deck for creating the collage. And so you could just turn around and share that with your students. And once you're well versed in the collage and you see if you look at the video, it kind of walks you through the steps. And if you want me to make another video that walks you, that is a little shorter maybe, and walks you through the steps too, I can do that. Yeah, so that's it for Google Classroom. When I post, one more thing about Google Classroom. When I post for the next Zoom session, I'll post it here, and you'll get an email saying that it's been posted. So check this before the September 10th, and this is where it'll be. And it'll also be in the calendar for this Google Classroom. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Any questions about the Google Classroom and how I'm using it? All right, so let's close the last activity. Any questions about the last activity?
I have a quick question, Ricardo.
Frustrations? Yeah.
Okay, so I was just in terms of the collage. So then it seems like it does take a minute after you embed all the photos. Then it's kind of going through a process of actually uploading it. So that's not supposed to be instantaneous, right? That is the correct way.
That is, it takes some time for it to generate.
Got it. Okay, so I was just making sure it wasn't just a slow connection. So that is, so you grab them, which seem pretty instant, and then once you're done with the collage and embed it, it does take a minute or so for it to populate.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And then
go ahead.
I couldn't figure out how to save it too. Like I was looking at the how do you name it or save it. That was the other thing.
In here, I'll go to here. This is where you name it. Yeah.
Gotcha. So gotcha right there in the my posts.
Yeah.
See, I gotcha. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, of course. To download it, you would go here, and you download it as a PNG or a JPEG, and then it'll just sit on your desktop.
But otherwise, it just lives in your Adobe Spark folder,
exactly.
or no?
Exactly. You just bank in there, and that's all I wanted you to do today. I didn't want to talk about the downloads and all that stuff because that's another step.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, of course. Anybody else?
So there's two other questions in the chat. Derek is asking for some connection to be made between the collage and the digital portfolio notebook. That's one question.
The journal, the notebook, is where you're going to hash out your ideas, where you're going to do a brainstorm, where you're going to do a free write, where you're going to do all these things. On Adobe Spark is where you're going to create things. You're going to create these collages. You're going to create a video. And eventually you're going to create a web page that's going to take some reflection. So you're going to grab a little bit from your journal, not all of it, because it's where you brainstorm and stuff, and all that stuff's not going to come over, but some of it, and then you're going to mix them all together. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you, so for those that just use Adobe Spark, the Adobe Spark is a space where you're creating your different media components.
Yeah.
And so I think that also addresses MXV Sandoval's question about Google Slides and sort of what's the difference between or the value of using Adobe Spark over Google Slides if you're already going to go ahead and paste your collage into a Google Slide, which is where the notebook is built. But it sounds to me like, the value is that Adobe Spark provides some additional features and functionality. So you could create a collage in Adobe Spark, or you could create it in a Google Slide, but you can't create a video, which is what, another feature or function that Adobe Spark is allowing for.
And it won't come out so lush. They have like this bank of lush images, and the way their website works, it's really, really lush and robust. And so it took a while to think about those two things in tandem. But I think I found a decent solution for how to work with these two things in tandem. Just as long as students know that here is the journal, and these are the different pieces that I do in the journal. And here is where I make my art and where I create my media. And we're gonna bring them together, but not yet. We're just starting.
Yeah, and I also just wanna take a second, and then I'll step back to kind of name what we're doing here, which is what a lot of KQED's professional development resources for kind of building media literacy skills for students is kind of this approach that asks the teacher, the educator, to put themselves in the role of producer first. or at least alongside students, so that you can be thinking about what challenges, opportunities there are for your students when they start to create projects using media in your classroom. And then you also have an exemplar. If you've created something first, you've gone through all the steps, you've tested out all of the tools. Like Ricardo says, you know, it took him a while to come to Adobe Spark as being a space where there was a lot of different media making opportunities. It made sense for what he was trying to do with the students in that initial moment. So the point I'm making is there are some great things about creating first and making media first before you ask your students to do it. And there's some value in making that media project alongside your students as well. And so I encourage you, especially if you're new to doing media making with your students, to kind of explore with them or put yourself in the role of producer before them, which is what Ricardo is asking of you all, even in this simple activity.
All right, good people, we're about to close, and we're gonna close with an invitation. And the invitation is to join this whole project. Go ahead and do that setting goals offline, asynchronously, if you will. Next steps, this is an invitation to join the course. There's the link to register. The digital portfolio course should be on there now. I just filled out some paperwork this weekend to get it okayed. And actually the thing is that this is a course that you can get funding for, right? So the LWEA, is it the LWEA money? You can bill for this course as you go through it. So you get paid to participate, which is a nice thing, right? Because we don't want to work for free. And so go ahead, I invite you all to go ahead and register. Please register. I love the idea of building this community within SFUSD and making those connections. And yeah, so hopefully you register. And in closing then, QSF, a lot of my colleagues are a part of Q San Francisco. I'm at some of these events. There's nice happy hours. Well, there's not nice happy hours right now, but you can sit in front of your computer and have a beer and watch some cool stuff happen. Maybe in a year, I don't know. Thank you. I hope you join us for the next session on Thursday, September 8th, 2020. I am Dr. Ricardo Elizalde from San Francisco Unified School District, along with
Almetria Vaba, again, the I is silent in my name, from KQED. Glad to have been connected to you all today and hope to see many of you on this journey towards building culturally responsive portfolios with your students.
Thank you all. Thank you for coming. Cheers to you. Have a good year too. Have a good opening.
Can you put the sign in the link in the chat?
The registration?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. I think I can. And again, if the digital portfolio course is not there, then it'll be there by tomorrow. There you go. Thank you all. Thank you. Hope it made sense. Mr. Bro, take it easy, man. Thank you, sir, for attending. It's good to see you.
Peace to you, Ricardo.
Take it easy. Nice to see you.
Peace to you all. Peace to you.
All right.
Hey, Marianne. What's happening? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Robin.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Robert.
Ciao, folks. I like your background.
Ciao, ciao to you.
Bravo, Miss Almetria. Thank you very much. I thought I worked all summer for this.